Welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk. This is your host, KP. Let's just hit right into it today. Let's get into it. There's so many things that are causing controversy this week. Big feelings all around the league, all around the NFL, all around, really. So we're just going to get into it. We're going to start off today, and we're just going to start with the headlines. All right, first headline. This is a little bit of a politically charged, might upset some people type of, a topic. And I mentioned to you guys, I'm going to try and stay away from the politics on this show. This is a sports show. But if I have to, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up if it's being talked about enough. And this is something, it's close to my heart. I feel personal about it. And it's what's going on with our athletes right now as far as deciding to be public figures and taking a cultural stance and a political stance on issues that normally in the past we haven't had too many athletes really show that they care about, outside of, a Muhammad Ali or, guys like that, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jesse Owens, things like that, guys that use their platform, their sport, for another purpose. And it's almost become a fad recently. It's a good fad. It's a thing that I like to see. I like to see that these athletes who are making so much money to play a game are having a social conscience and aware that they do have a little bit of pull. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say, they have to be role models and they need to check their behavior and be on their P's and Q's. I agree with Charles Barkley on that. Athletes should not be your kids' role models. Your role model should be your parents. Your role model should be your family. Your role model should be education. Sports, if you want to have a sports role model, somebody to look up to in your athletic side of your life, great, then do that. But don't have any one person, just because they play a game, be who you want to be like as a person. That doesn't make any sense. They're not out there trying to show you how to be like a person. They're out there getting paid to play a game. So with that being said, with the Carmelo Anthonys of the world, LeBron James, Michael Jordan recently, Chris Paul, we've heard Dwayne Wade speak out. Thoughts and, prayers go to his family. And yes, we wouldn't know about his cousin if it wasn't for his position in sports. But so what? Maybe we should know more about other people. Maybe we should know more about our neighbors and what's going on, so we can cut down some of this divisiveness that we have going on right now. So that brings me to Colin Kaepernick, another athlete who has gotten on this political consciousness and decided to make a stand. He explained his stance. And you know what? He has a point. No matter how you feel about this country, no matter how much you support the flag or it's been burned into your head that you have to do certain things to show respect. If you believe that the troops and that all these people around the country are fighting for the land of the free, then you can't decide what somebody else's freedom is. You don't have to respect it. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to participate in it. But you have to accept it. You have to respect their right. Otherwise, you're trying to do a double-edged sword, and that doesn't work. You can't have it both ways. Bigoted America, racist America. And I say that very strongly, because if you look at the examples just in the past few weeks in sports of the athletes who have been called out for their actions and the athletes who have not been called out for their actions, it's very clear what is going on and how the story is being written. Now, nobody cared, nobody brought up that Kaepernick sat the first two games. Why? Well, that's because he wasn't playing. He wasn't in uniform. Now you see him in a uniform, and there's a big buzz about it. Let's call him all the N-words online. We're big and tough. We can make threats because somebody didn't stand for a song or put their hand over their heart for a piece of material. Now, for you that are so patriotic that a song and a piece of material mean more than real people and relationships and understanding and knowledge and respect, I feel sad for you. That's too bad that you have such big blinders on that you can't see the big picture and how your views are fueling the fire. Could Kaepernick have made the same point in another way? Sure. There's many ways he could have got his point across, other than apparently upsetting, quote-unquote, white America. And again, I'm going to say that very strongly. Let's just go back to the Olympics. Just recently, Gabby Douglas, she doesn't put her hand over her heart while the girls' gymnastics team, the women's gymnastics team, is hearing the national anthem, and people tear her apart, call her evil names, talk smack, threaten her, put her down. Then we have 2 track and field shot putters, male shot putters, gold and silver, don't put their hand over their heart, barely even gets a glimpse. Nobody cares. It was okay for the white guys, not okay for Gabby Douglas. Okay, brown versus white, there is another example. Here's another example. Michael Phelps started to get beat up a little bit because he laughed during the national anthem. But then when everybody found out, oh, it was an inside joke with him and his buddies in Baltimore, oh, well, that's okay. Look at all the medals he won. Again, okay for the white guy, not okay for the brown people. Now here's Colin Kaepernick. He's mixed, but brown enough for the people who want to be bigots and make this a big issue. And it's not okay for him to have a political stance. I can go back to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf and him not wanting to put his hand over his heart for the national anthem. He agreed to stand and be part of his team. It is not required in this country for you to stand and show respect. It is a choice. It's a choice given by the same people that you think they're disrespecting. You can't have freedom be what your definition is and everybody has to live that way. That's not freedom. Stop being hateful because people don't do things the way you do. That is completely counter to what you're saying you live for and what you represent and what this place we live in represents. It's more hatred. It's more fuel on the fire. If he wants to do that and he has a point, he has a point. Listen to it or don't. I'm sick of everybody thinking because this is the land of the free, that means that you have the right to be mean, or the right to be ugly, or the right to be hateful. It was supposed to mean we can get along. We can all be who we are. We're accepting. We can change. We can grow. We can learn. Not we're going to beat each other down, pretend racism is gone, pretend that everything's okay and that we should move on from what it was and how bad these people were treated for so long, like something has changed. Nothing has changed. It's reported different or not reported. We're starting to find out more and more how much nothing has changed thanks to cell phones. So Colin Kaepernick, make your stance. Be intelligent with it, though. Don't bring negative fuel back to you. Don't bring negative fuel that could end your career at this point, because you haven't been playing. You got beat out by Blaine Gabbert. You turned down a trade to go to a good situation in Denver. If you're going to make a stance, do it in the right way. Get some intelligent people around you that can help do it in the right way. Make some real change. Make some positive change. Start locally, build to globally. All right, other things in headlines. That's enough of that. Let's move on. We could talk about that, and that's just a fueled subject that could continue going on forever based on how people feel about it. But if you're real about it, it's a double standard. No other way to talk about it. There's a double standard when it comes to that kind of stuff still in this country, and it is based on race, no matter what anybody wants to tell you. And the fear of that is fear. You're scared because you don't know. So go educate yourself, stop being ignorant and hateful, and move on. All right, Tony Romo. Dallas fans, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what you're going to do. Don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. I think it's time, honestly, Romo needs to start considering other careers. You know, maybe he needs to go ahead and pursue the PGA. Maybe he needs to move in that direction. He has taken a beating in Dallas. Even with that amazing offensive line, he's getting torn apart. He went from the guy who wasn't clutch to the guy who's now always injured. And unfortunately, because of his clutch mistakes, because of his injuries, it overshadows how good of a quarterback Tony Romo has been. With him in the lineup, the Cowboys win. With him out of the lineup, they lose. That simple. Now, since 2008, 2008 he broke broke a finger. In 2008, they lost time. 2010, broke his clavicle. 2013, back injury. 2014, back injury. 2015, last year, again, the collarbone, clavicle. And now this year, another back injury with the broken vertebra. Out at least 6 to 10 weeks. Maybe longer, maybe shorter, depending on how his back heals. Now, that's 3 out of the last 4 years there's been an injury to Tony Romo's back. At some point, he's going to have to consider, how much more of this do I want to put up with? Is it time for me to just move on and be healthy enough to live my life? Or is it important enough that I love this game so much it doesn't matter to me? He's 36 years old, and the Cowboys are going to have to make some business decisions soon. They've been riding it out with Romo for a long time, not because they don't have options. They can make trades, they can draft, and they have. It's because of what he brings to the table. He's a winner. He's a good quarterback in this league. But he's been very injured. So we'll have to see. Maybe he comes back this season. Hopefully by then, for Cowboys and Cowboys fans, they're still in it. They're in a division that will break down here in a little bit that, could go a number of different ways this year. It's going to be a tight division again. One thing that was not close at all, don't know if you guys, UFC fans, I'm sure saw this, but UFC Vancouver took place, and Paige VanZant was fighting Rowdy Beck Rollins. And she did a jump kick to this girl's head, just knocked her straight down. She was on the mat. VanZant got on top of her. Boom, 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 boom. Some quick rights and lefts to the head. Referee stepped in, called the fight. That's it. Quick fight, got it done. Now, this is the same Paige VanZant that was on Dancing with the Stars. So maybe, the footwork got a little better. You hear about football players using ballet for footwork and wrestling for footwork. Maybe some of this ballroom dancing, helped her in the ring. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of that in the future from other fighters. Right now, I got to say, she's the most exciting female fighter going in the UFC. Ronda Rousey's out. The other women are, back and forth with who's up. And Paige VanZant has been winning the last 3 or 4 fights. So tune in, check her out if you haven't really checked her out too much. Other UFC news, Dana White is saying now that a trilogy fight between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor doesn't make any sense. It does make sense, but he has to say something else to get the fans off of that right now so they can start promoting the next thing that's going to happen. Because the next thing that's going to happen is not a third fight between them. It will take place. These are 2 guys with fight egos, with machismo egos that aren't going to let this go. And if they can have that 2-to-1 edge and be like, okay, look, you might have got me once, but I got you the second time. Everybody needs the rubber match in a fight game. That's just how it works. You beat me, I beat you. All right, it's 0-0. Next man wins. So it'll happen. It's not going to happen this year. It might not happen till late next year. Remember, I told you guys last time, I still think McGregor's going to be having a WWE appearance. I think Dana White and Vince McMahon have been doing more business than we know about currently. And there's other plans and other things we're going to see come down the line as far as crossover, cross-promotion, guys showing up on different platforms. Now, it's not going to go crazy, and they're not going to completely blend and have some kind of UFC versus WWE event.